Welcome to another episode of the Cobra Daytona Build. Thank you everybody for watching. In this episode, we're going to install the sway bar. As you can see, I've already painted it white, and I apologize for me bouncing all over the place, but the part back order is really starting to affect me. There's issues I need for the things I need for the motor that are holding up getting it installed. As I said, I'm still missing all the rear suspension control arms, upper to lower, so still missing shocks. So it's kind of hurting. It's kind of bouncing around, doing what I can do to keep busy and yet not getting things totally completed. So I apologize for that, but follow along. We'll get the sway bar installed. Appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, and thank you. So here's what comes in the kit for the optional. This is an option on Factory 5. Does not come with the kit. Comes with the sway bar, as you can see in my hand. All the hardware to mount it. And then I think this is actually from Energy Suspensions or something, I'm not even sure. But let me show you one of the problems that we are going to have, and this might be my doing. So if you put these bushings on here, hopefully you can see this. These things open up. You see the gap we have there? So the problem with that gap is if you go to do this, you can see it's going to be too tight. So I'm going to have to run a spacer behind this. And it's probably because I've got the extra thickness of the paint. I can't imagine I got that much, but then again, it's going all the way around. So I doubt it, but we'll run a little spacer on there because if not, it's going to squeeze this thing too tight and it's not going to allow it to turn. And then you're basically adding spring rate, which is not what you want with a sway bar until you get one to turn the opposite direction of the other. So that's what we're going to kind of do. We'll just put a little spacer back here, maybe a washer. Not going to take much, probably one washer each side, and that should solve the problem. So follow along and we'll get this thing bolted up. And it looks like we got to get this thing up through here. Wow. Wow. So that's kind of where it's going. I gotta get that other bushing way down in there. So that's where the sway bar, and we're gonna bolt that up. As I said, we're gonna put some spacers behind these brackets. This thing off because I'm wondering if the radiator is gonna block a lot of this. Okay, so what I've done is I put two washers behind this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to torque. I'm going to basically put some pressure on these nuts, and we'll see what kind of pressure. I'm going to tighten these things up. Yeah, so this way I can see what kind of pressure is being exerted. So if I cannot rotate the sway bar easily, that feels pretty good right there. So if you can't rotate it easily, then this basically is pinching on the sway bar, and then I'm basically adding spring rate that's not necessary to add. Now you do want it to be stable, so if I move it around, I can rock it, then I know I've got too many spacers. But right there, that feels perfect. I can rotate it easily. So it looks like two shims underneath those. And I'm golden. So I'll pull this back apart though to put some grease in there, some of the lube. But looks like that'll do the trick. So just so you're aware, that's key. Ow. Okay. Ooh, that feels good. See, so it's just enough friction to kind of support it, but you can see there's not much. And that's really what you want. You don't want a whole lot of friction there. You want, so this thing's gonna move, but not move around this way, because it's supposed to, you know, that kind of get the motion here. That's how sway bar works. So we'll go pull the other side off, and then I'll come back with a torque wrench. We'll torque those, probably 35 feet-pounds by the size of the nut and the bolt. We'll pull this one off. I guess you don't need to watch this. And then we'll start making the, I know we have to cut down the brackets that attach up into here. So we'll show you how that works next. So hopefully you can see here the way this thing gets bolted up. It kind of uses where the shock mounts, which I don't have shocks. This will come up into here, and then there's a spacer that goes across here, and that's the way the system works. You may have to shorten this piece here. Hopefully you guys can see this, but right now that looks pretty good. The sway bar looks pretty level. I know for the Roadster I had to cut this way down, but I'm thinking I may not have to here. So let me go grab a bolt, we can put that through. Okay, so you can see the way the whole system here kind of works now. So bolts up here, as you can see, to the shock bolt, and then shoots across. And right now, the lower control arm is almost level, and the sway bar is level too. So I'm actually not going to have to cut these. As I said, with Roadster, you had to cut them way down, but I'm thinking that's going to look pretty good right there. But I can't find the spacer that goes in between here. So, and without the shock, I don't really want to continue bolting this up. So I'll go do the other side. At least this way you get a general idea of how the sway bar kind of bolts in. As I said, it's looking pretty good. Yeah, I don't see why I'd want to cut that down. That actually looks really good right there, level. So I think I'm pretty good. Well, that was a quick one. So showed you how to install the sway bar. As I said, I'm trying to go into as much detail as possible. That way, if you had to, you can build this thing right off watching my YouTube channel. So I can't go any further till I find those spacers, and this is one of the problems. I'm gonna have to hunt through the bags and see if I can figure out where it could be. So thanks again for watching, and definitely hit subscribe, and I'll keep showing you more.